You're listening to The Endless Party with your hosts,
Megan Elijah Armstrong. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the party.
Woohoo!
We are glad you're here. Today, we are going to be talking about changing from the inside out. And before we jump in, I just want to give credit where credit is due. This episode is inspired by a chapter, I think it's the afterword actually, in Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it's further inspired by a quote he shares in that chapter, and it's by Ezra Taft Benson. And I'm just going to read this quote as the preface to our episode today. So anyways, the quote reads, "The Lord works from the inside out. The world works from the outside in. The world would take people out of the slums. Christ takes the slums out of people, and then they take themselves out of the slums. The world would mold men by changing their environment. Christ changes men, who then change their environment. The world would shape human behavior, but Christ can change human nature." And I just thought this quote was so powerful.
Very powerful quote.
Because I think a lot of times, as this quote, expresses, in this world, we're told if you can change the outside appearance of how situations look and change the outside stressors and, issues, then the inside will change too. But that's not necessarily true.
No.
True change comes from the inside. And what is the inside? Well, that's a change of heart, right? And I think we've talked about, before what a change of heart really is, but I kind of wanted to tag Elijah and he can kind of go into this principle because it's something that he's super passionate about.
Yeah.
Just the change of heart.
So, when I served church mission, we had this guy come and speak, and he basically gave us this understanding, like the greatest miracle in the world isn't some grand miracle, right? And I phrase it this way. I say the greatest miracle in the world is not walking on water, raising the dead, or healing the sick. It's a change of heart. And what this implies is the understanding that somebody had to be willing to change. So back to this Jesus Christ example. Jesus Christ, he did all these glorious miracles, and they truly were that glorious miracles. But when he raised the dead or healed the sick or walked on water or any of those things, he did an act. And those people, yes, they somewhat had the faith, but realistically, Christ didn't need their faith.
No.
Right? He had a knowledge of who he was, that he was the Son of God, and so he could have healed them, period.
Right.
But what's profound is when somebody has a change of heart, because that means they gave up their agency to see a better perspective. Like, not even Jesus Christ could change your heart. You have to be willing to change your heart. Right. And it's the same thing with Heavenly Father. Like, God cannot change your heart. You have to be willing to change your heart. And so that's what makes it such a grand and glorious miracle. It's this understanding that it all relies upon you as an individual to put forth faith and act against what you've known for so long. And I like the quote that Meg read right at the beginning of the podcast, because it is this is what the world views, right? So many people, it's like, oh, if I just had $1 million, everything would be all fine and dandy. No, it wouldn't. You'd still be the same person that you are today. Right? That's why, actually, this is a crazy statistic. I think it's 67% of all NBA players go bankrupt. And I think it's like even higher than that in the NFL.
Really?
Yeah. Because they're not $1 million people.
Right.
Right? Because they took these people that, a lot of them, like, grew up in the slums, grew up in the streets, and they were phenomenal athletes. But they never figured out their true potential as people. And I'm not saying they're not amazing people, because they are. Obviously, they made it to the NFL or the NBA, and everybody has that potential to be good and incredible and a divine son and daughter of God. But the fact of the matter is, they didn't believe that they are $1 million people, so they blow it.
Right.
Like, that's a high percentage. It's the same people that win the lottery, they go bankrupt.
Right.
Because they're not $1 million people.
Right. They
right?
don't believe it.
And it's you have to change from the inside out in order to be that, right? If you want to be a millionaire, be $1 million person first, and the millions will come.
Right.
Like, it'll all take care of itself.
So fascinating. I just am a firm believer too that lasting change has to come from, like, lasting and true change comes from within. It comes within your heart. Mm-hmm. And even Covey explains that you first have to start with your inner self and your character and your motives and your values if you want to experience change. For example, we just filmed the New Year's podcast, right? And in it, like, I'm just going to bring these examples up because they're just, prevalent within society. People want money and people want to be fit, right? Most people don't have a lot of money and most people aren't very fit.
Yep.
So, like, just to, like, put this principle into application, as Elijah and I have said, if you want $1 million, what you first have to do is change your heart to believe that you're $1 million person and start to act like you are. If you want to be fit and healthy, you first have to change your heart. Believe that you are capable of fitness and health and that you have the potential for health, and then you can start to make a change, right? What is it going to do if you just, like Elijah said, even if you're granted $1 million, how is that going to really help if deep down you don't believe you're that $1 million person? Yeah. If you lose weight because of a pill or a drink or something, how is that going, or a diet, how is that going to sustain itself if deep down you don't believe that you're healthy and that you're capable of being fit and healthy? Like, it won't.
Mm-hmm. There's this quote by Zig Ziglar, and he says, you have to be before you can do, and you have to do before you can have, right? So you have to be the right kind of person. You have to do the right kind of things in order to have the right kind of things that those type of people have.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you look at the most successful people in the world, of all the books that we read, of all of these great and phenomenal authors, they practice what they preach. If they didn't, they wouldn't be great and phenomenal authors or world-renowned business owners and speakers and entrepreneurs. It wouldn't happen. That's just a fact of life. If you don't believe me, go to a trailer park.
Right.
Right? Look at the type of people that are there. Do you really think that they, like, read a self-help book to make them a millionaire? No, but they'll complain about trying to be a millionaire, right? And I'm just using that as an example, here's what's crazy about it. Each and every one of those people has the potential to go on and do something phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Something so unique to even them, right? And so that's what we're really trying to portray to this world is, like, where you are, like, start changing, but start from the inside out. It doesn't begin by, like, all of a sudden, oh, if I had a Mercedes, or if I had a bigger house, or if I had this, I would have more friends and I'd have more success. And that doesn't work.
Your environment has nothing to do with
No, it has to do with
success.
you.
Yes. Yeah. So I think I wanted to share a personal story of, a way that I've seen change work from the inside out with me. And so it's actually, it's kind of personal. I don't think so. Before we were pregnant with the twins, we actually had quite a few miscarriages.
Two or three.
Maybe
even more.
And it was really hard.
Yeah.
It was really hard. It was really hard to make it to, like, 13 or 14 weeks through the first trimester and to have those pregnancies, ultimately end. It was really hard. And there were a couple of different options, that I could have pursued. And like I said, this is just my personal story. So, before I explain what I chose to do, I know every situation's different. Every case is different.
Unique to you.
But before Elijah and I, like, sought out fertility options or sought out, really intense medications,
hormone supplements.
I just thought to myself, like, and after talking to Elijah too, I was like, okay, if my body isn't able, to carry a baby, there must be something that's off from the inside. And what we kind of narrowed it down to is there must be some hormonal, or just mineral deficiency within my body because I'm healthy, I sleep, I eat, I exercise. So there really isn't any reason why, I shouldn't be able to have and like sustain a pregnancy. Anyways, all this to be said, I got on, all I did was change something from the inside, and I got on this nutritional like supplement. And what it did is it just helped me change from the inside. And all of a sudden, all of my nutritional levels were being met. And so from the inside, my body was starting to be able to produce all of the proper hormones that were necessary to sustain human life. And then we were pregnant with the twins.
Yep.
And what happened is first I had to have that change of heart, and I had to say, okay, well, I know that I'm capable of being pregnant and like carrying a baby, but how am I going to make this work? Like, what am I going to do? And then I decided to heal my body from the inside, and like fix that like nutritional and mineral deficiency. And then I was able to sustain pregnancy. And so I just thought that was kind of, I don't know, it just kind of related to this because
it totally does.
It just is the first step I had to do was change kind of my mindset and not be afraid of pregnancy and not fear, the past with all those miscarriages that did happen, and instead like step into a new future with hope and knowing that I had made the necessary change to like see what get the results I wanted to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And my experience is similar to that. Obviously not pregnancy part because I'm a man. But I had what's called ulcerative colitis, and I got diagnosed with it in 2018. I think I had it a little bit before that. But it really affected everything about my health physically. And that was actually the reason that I ended up ending my sports career early. But I was different in the fact that I tried all sorts of medication. I tried Meslamine, I tried Humira, I've tried Stelara. You've probably seen the infomercials of these on Hulu or other ads that basically teach, like, that broadcast this is what's going to help your autoimmune disease. And all of these drugs helped me to a point, but they actually had mad side effects. And so I actually talked to Meg, I think, a year into our marriage or so. And I just asked her, I was like, I hate being on medication. Like, I can't stand it. It makes me angry. It makes me depressed. It's, like, horrible. And I don't want to be dependent upon a drug. And I took a different approach, and it was more of a holistic approach. And I actually got on this, it's called Divine Nature, and it just cured my body. But I had to go all in, right? I went completely off all the drugs, and I just did the Divine Nature, which was just probiotics and vitamins, minerals, and all the good things. And it was the same aspect, right? Is I saw a problem within my body, and this is just a good analogy, right? It's just this understanding that I had a problem with me. It wasn't my environment, where I was living, who I was around. Nothing else was the problem. The problem was with my body. And so I had to fix my body in order for everything else outside to be fixed. And I say that because by fixing my body, I was able to engage in the sports that I love and enjoy that I wasn't able to engage in previously. And Meg's was different in the sense that she now was able to have a baby and she wasn't able to previously. Right? So if you are looking for these glorious results of these goals that you have set for yourself, start with yourself.
Look within.
Yeah, look within.
Look within inside yourself to find those solutions.
Like, take some time and be alone and figure out what you need to correct in order to be that $1 million person. And it doesn't even have to be $1 million. That's just an easy way to explain it. But, like, if you have a health issue, that's how we fixed it. We looked within. What did we need to change? Was it a diet thing? And me and Meg actually have both relatives on both sides that had things that they changed their diet dramatically and saw massive success.
Yes.
You know, and it just goes back to that understanding that you need to change from the inside out, not the outside in.
Right. It's not about finding the right drug or the right treatment or it was all about, finding what was right for like our inside, healing us from within, not just masking the issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think this kind of applies to something I wrote down to talk about, but you are the person you are looking for.
Yeah.
Everything that you need to be successful is within you.
Yeah.
But you just have to find it and foster it. And I'm such a huge believer in this. And I've watched it work in my life, like countless times.
Well, what's the scripture? Through Christ, I can do all things.
I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me.
I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me, right? And it's like, yes, you can, because you have that divine ability to access his power.
So how could you not?
He'll give you the answers.
Right.
Right. And that's another thing that I want to mention really fast. If you are struggling to see what you need to improve upon, ask God.
He'll let you know.
He'll let you know. He'll let you know real quick. Like, if you want to be sufficiently humbled, go to God and be like, hey, what do I need to fix? And then you will get a slap in the face as to everything that you need to fix. And so, again, just start from the inside out. Spend time alone. Pray. Figure out what you need to change in order to get everything that you want out of life.
And I think, too, I hope you know, like, I think this is something that's difficult for everybody. It's really
including
hard.
us.
Oh, yeah. It's really hard to self-examine and go into those dark and sticky places.
Eat that humble pie.
Yes.
And
go into those dark, sticky places where I'm like, I need to put in work.
Well,
there's
or you
a problem.
just like
I need to change
embrace
this.
the fact that you are a bit of a garbage person.
Yeah, it's hard to swallow your pride.
Yeah.
But you know what's so interesting is it is hard until
it's not.
And I think it is hard until you involve Christ in that change, and then it's so easy.
Well, it's the understanding
which is so interesting
that he can
too.
take your faults and your weaknesses and he can make them into something good and powerful.
And it's so beautiful because as humans, I don't think we have that power inside ourselves to do it ourselves.
No, we need a higher power.
We need a higher power to help us.
We need
and so
Christ.
When you put him on your side, that change can be made. Mm-hmm. And he'll be with you every step of the way. And so, anyways.
No, absolutely. So, if you have changes that you want to see in your life, start with you. But here's actually something one of my professors used to say, and it's the understanding of change. And it's like, first and foremost, the only person that you can change is yourself. Second, you can't change anybody else. And he's like, third, good news is you can change. Right? So it's like those 3 rules, you can change, you can't change anybody else, and like be grateful you can change.
Right.
And so start with you. I mean, that's just, again, reiterating this understanding that you need to start with you and just make the changes that you need in order to be the person that you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, guys. It's always good to have you listen in on our podcast. Go visit our other platforms, and we would actually love to hear from you. I mean,
yes, we would.
We love talking, and we would really enjoy talking about the things that you want us to talk about.
Yes. So
cool.
Let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Until next time. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
You've been listening to The Endless Party. Please feel free to join us over at our website, theendlessparty.com, for more of our content. Also, we would love to hear from you. Leave some comments and let us know what you're interested in us talking about.
Seriously, like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, whatever it is the platform says to do, so that we can keep partying together.